Greninja, looking for the water streak and farm down the opponent, sends out Venusaur, probably expecting to tank Night Slashes for days. While surprise trainer, we've got Aerial Ace, the first one lands, doing almost half of Venusaur's HP. We're one water streaking away from Aerial Ace. Number 2, forcing the first Protect Shield. Greninja, still not done, makes Aerial Ace number 3. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have an incredible battle submission for one of my faction's teammate, Jazz. Jazz, without a doubt, is not only one of the best players in the world, but he always runs some incredibly spicy teams, and today is no different from any other day as we are in full spice mode. Today we're taking a look at two Pokemon that have access to the newly buffed Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is a move I used to call Aerial Ass because it was so dreadful. This season is more Aerial Average, but that's not what makes this team so spicy. The two Pokemon running Aerial Ace are Pokemon you would not expect to see it on. Greninja's primary charge move is, of course, always going to be Legacy Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon, absolutely busted move. Usually secondary charge move would be Night Slash. As Greninja is a dark type, you probably want to be able to beat the psychic and ghost types you could see yourself against. However, Greninja operating on Aerial Ace has that coverage move for some of its hardest counters, including grass types and fighters. Moving on to our second Aerial Ace user, we have got Gliscor. Gliscor, of course, usually always wants that huge nuke of Earthquake. However, this season, Earthquake has been nerfed, so Jazz is out here running Night Slash and Aerial Ace. When I first saw this, I thought he must be mad. Let's see if he's mad or whether it's the right moveset. Rounding the team off, why not run a third buffed Pokemon? We've got Trailblaze Scizor. Without any further ado, let's jump into the battles. And in game 1, we saw the battle of the dark types. The opponent didn't fancy the work of the super spammy Greninja, they say, switched into Cresselia. Jazz answered with Scizor. Scizor very comfortable in this matchup. Cresselia can quite literally run whatever they like. Scizor resists it all. Scizor comes in. We get the bullet punch farm down. Scizor leaves with residual energy and the opponent sends in the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death. Jazz throws one bullet punch and the Night Slash, recognising he won't be able to survive the Incinerate. He then sends out Greninja. Greninja looking primed to sweep the opponent, sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Shout out to both Home Slice Henry and my faction, the Home Slice homies. Moving on to the next one. Greninja into the ever annoying Steelix. The opponent again safe switch into Cresselia. Jazz farms up, banks a boatload of energy and sends out Scizor. Scizor does resist everything. However, this Cresselia is running Future Sight and Scizor's lack of bulk is really showing. That Future Sight did ridiculous damage, but Jazz, undeterred, farms up, fires off the Night Slash. As Jazz allowed this Cresselia huge energy lead, we're going to be forced to shield. If you want to maintain alignment, Jazz, not willing to shield, just completely sacks Scizor and then sends back out Greninja again. Jazz very nicely over farms, fires off the Hydro Cannon. The Hydro Cannon doesn't quite knock out. We're looking for the Water Shriek and farm down, but the super fit Cresselia makes the Moonblast. Jazz commits a shield, then gets the full Water Shriek and farm down. The opponent send in Venusaur. They might be expecting to tank Night Slashes for days. While surprise trainer, we've got Aerial Ace. The first one lands, doing almost half of Venusaur's HP. Greninja so far energy, fires off Aerial Ace. Number 2, and there's plenty more of where that come from. Jazz fires off the third. Venusaur commits both Protect Shields, and then we pivot out into Gliscor, and unfortunately we have no Earthquake. This is why I personally think Earthquake is mandatory, as we could have nuked this stupid Steel Snake back to its Pokeball. However, let's see how this one plays out. The opponent going for Breaking Swipe after Breaking Swipe, and we're firing off resisted wing attacks and neutral Night Slashes. Show me the boost. Jazz doesn't get a boost, but Greninja still looking primed to sweep this back line. One more Breaking Swipe doesn't get the job done because Steelix hits like an absolute fucking wet noodle. Jazz fires off the next Night Slash, putting this thing into Hydro Cannon range. The opponent pivot out into Venusaur. Jazz going to invest his final Protect Shield here. We shield up the Frenzy Plant. Jazz again over farming, firing off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will be vanquishing Venusaur back to its Pokeball when Steelix does return. We're only one Water Shrieking away from the Hydro Cannon, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Despite having no Earthquake, Jazz's energy management was absolutely on point, and we take the dub. In the next battle, we see Greninja into Tapu Fini. Believe it or not, Greninja actually wins this matchup in the 2 shield, going straight Hydro Cannon. That is just how spammy this thing is. Jazz then banks a Hydro Cannon, looks to catch a Moonblast onto his Scizor. The catch is unsuccessful. Now Scizor has to eat a Surf. I've never seen Surf do so much damage when it's only neutral. If you even look at this Scizor the wrong way, it will faint. The opponent then switch out into Dragon Breath Giratina. This is evidently why they chip and dip. They don't seem to have any real response. Jazz recognising that. Gonna shield up the Dragon Claw. Looking to get off Night Slash. Number 2, hoping to force a Protect Shield off the opponent. The opponent actually choose to let it go down, and they get the Dragon Breath farm down. That is brutal. Jazz has not only lost Switch, but he's down a shield. Jazz sent in Greninja. Greninja gets the Water Shriek and farm down. The opponent reveals their third Pokemon, which is Ampharos. Greninja fires off one Water Shriek and the Hydro Cannon for optimal fast move timing. Greninja so far in energy goes to the same play, and the second Hydro Cannon forces the final Protect Shield. We then see the pivot into Gliscor. The opponent opting to stay in despite having a pretty good Gliscor answer in the form of their Tapu Fini. The opponent continuing to stay in. Jazz can tank these single resisted Thunder Punches for days. The opponent actually fire off the Brutal Swing the next time. And this is where Aerial Ace is going to come in clutch. Out comes Tapu Fini. The first Aerial Ace lands for decent neutral damage. Gliscor already at the second. Jazz goes for the undercharge. The undercharge is a beauty. Jazz lets itself get as low as physically possible. 1 Volt Switch takes us out. Back out comes Greninja. Greninja reaches the Hydro Cannon, and that is an absolutely beautiful endgame. And Jazz picks up an incredible dub. GG's. I've been fortunate enough to actually spend a lot of time talking to Jazz. He babysits me essentially through factions every single week when I attempt to use regular Pokemon that I just power up before a battle and hope for the best. But Jazz's gameplay IQ normally gets me a few dubs. In the next battle again we see Tapu Fini. Jazz does exactly the same play, looking to catch the Moonblast, and again he's unsuccessful this time. Scizor is hard punished by Skeledirge. Scizor fires off the first Night Slash. Jazz, as he actually got a little bit of energy together, able to make Night Slash number 2, getting this Skeledirge down below half health. Jazz sends out Greninja with the move banked and fires off, winning the charge move priority event. The opponent opt to invest their final Protect Shield. Jazz does have a 2 to no shield advantage, but Skeledirge does have access to Disarming Voice. We invest our first Protect Shield. Jazz now going to invest his final Protect Shield. Now all shields down. Jazz then anticipates the combo play. Jazz reads his opponent like an absolute book, catches the Moonblast onto Gliscor, and once again Aerial Ace going to come in clutch. The opponent thinking this is only a Night Slash. What a surprise, motherfucker. We've got Aerial Ace. Jazz then gets the Wing Attack farm down, which is absolutely huge. The opponent's final Pokemon is Steelix. It's now Greninja versus the world. Jazz farms up, fires off the Hydro Cannon on the CMPs. Hydro Cannon gets Steelix down below half health. The opponent has a potential sack swap available should they need it. Jazz over farming, anticipates the swap. Jazz farms up to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons again. Jazz, gameplay IQ on point. One Hydro Cannon takes care of the Crocodile, and the second one takes care of Steelix. My God, what another incredible dub. Jazz playing absolutely out of his mind. In the next battle, we see a pretty bad lead. However, it could be worse as Greninja is incredibly spammy. It's able to just spam these Hydro Cannons at a rate of knots. Jazz fires off the first. We then see the attempted Zap Cannon or Focus Blast catch onto Gliscor. The catch isn't the cleanest, but the opponent for some reason opt to YOLO the move anyway. Jazz definitely takes that. As they threw the Focus Blast, we don't see any attempt at a debuff, and the opponent then sends out Giratina. We get the boost. As our strange looking bat thing got the boost, Jazz instantly invests the Protect Shield, and he's going to look to start forcing shields off this Giratina. Jazz fires off the Night Slash. The opponent does invest that Protect Shield. Jazz opting to go all shields down, riding his boost. We shield up the next Dragon Claw. Jazz then over farms, fires off the next Night Slash. This will either knock out or force the final Protect Shield. The opponent now all shields down. We see another boost. Unfortunately, our boost luck is over as our Gliscor runs out of HP. Jazz then sends out Greninja. What the fuck is going on? We get a huge amount of lag. The game finally stops unlagging. Jazz going to be unable to Water Shriek and farm down Giratina. He's going to be forced to throw. Jazz farms up to almost maximum energy and fires off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will be secure in the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Cobalion, and this is brutal. Jazz fires 2 Water Shriekens and the Hydro Cannon. I anticipate the instant switch, and that's exactly what we see. However, you can see that 2 Hydro Cannons ain't going to knock out Cobalion, so I think this is GG. Even a boost from Scizor won't save us at this stage. Scizor going to fire off the Night Slash. The big Tin Can easily going to withstand the damage. The opponent can take us out with any one move. The only win con for Jazz at this stage is probably firing off a Hydro Cannon, getting a very risky undercharge and somehow leaving with 2 moves. Jazz farms up as much as physically possible. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout on the big tin can. I think we're 2 water shriekens away from the charge move. Can we survive 2 double kicks to make the next move? We cannot, and unfortunately lose a very tough game. GG's to the opponent. Yikes, DD, somewhat of a core breaker. Greninja doesn't fancy this matchup, and to be honest, Scizor isn't all that much better. However, we do see the pivot into Scizor, drawing out dub wall. The opponent firing off the resisted body slam. You can see that Scizor again evidently doesn't resist all that much Jazz this time. Fires off the Trailblaze, looking to vamp up his own attack. Are we going to see Jazz make a play for switch? I think the answer is most certainly yes, as we see the instant shield deployed. Jazz then farms up, fires off 4 bullet punches and the Night Slash, looking to either force a shield or just straight take back switch the opponent. Give up that protect shield. Jazz more than happy to go all shields down just to realign. Jazz gets the bullet punch farm down. The opponent send out Steelix, and Steelix is going to be met with the Night Slash. Night Slash boosted, forces the final shield. What the heck was the opponent thinking? Steelix, probably one of the bulkiest mon in existence, shields up a Night Slash. Jazz pauses a turn, ensures the Hydro Cannon lands on Steelix. The opponent then looks to snipe. Jazz, far too smart for that, catches the charge move onto Gliscor. Defense Deoxys incredibly thick, so despite us hitting for neutral with the wing attacks and the Night Slashes being super effective, this is going to get quite close. Jazz fires off the Night Slash. The opponent farm up to the back-to-back Psycho boost. Come on, Gliscor, please be thick. We tank the first. We're at the next Night Slash. This Night Slash won't quite knock out, but likewise, we should survive the Psycho boost. Gliscor going to be left on a sliver of HP. Psycho boost gets a slow. The opponent then looked to snipe with Steelix. Jazz says, not today, trainer. Makes another savage catch, catching the breaking swipe onto Greninja. Greninja then fires off the Hydro Cannon, which will be securing the knockout. Defense Deoxys has a tough task ahead of it. It looks for the counter farm down. Greninja says no, and we take another dub. In the next battle, we see the battle of the dark types. This one certainly not in Greninja's favour, so we see the pivot into Scizor, drawing out Giratina. Jazz goes straight for the Night Slash. Come on, RNG, show me the boost. We don't see any boost. The opponent farming up a boatload of energy, allowing Scizor to make Night Slash number 2. Is the opponent going to Shadow Force us? Let's see. The opponent probably has enough energy for it. It requires 10 Shadow Claws. The opponent actually bait with the Dragon Claw. A great call from Jazz. Jazz is now going to shield the next Dragon Claw, as we just received the energy for the next Night Slash. So Jazz is either going to force both protect shields or take back switch. The opponent goes all shields down. They do get a very nice Shadow Claw farm down. However, it is what it is. Greninja not too fussed about this energy. The opponent fire off the Dragon Claw. Greninja looks for the Water Shriek and farm down. Have a Giratina already at the next Dragon Claw. Greninja now already approaching the yellow. Jazz over farms. Unfortunately, we can't quite Water Shriek and farm down before the next move. Jazz invests his final Protect Shield. Do we get the final Water Shriek and farm down? Jazz actually snipes with Gliscor to get ahead in energy, banking 100 energy on his Greninja. The opponent now send out Cresselia. Cresselia not going to have a great time against an Energy League Gliscor. We fire off the Night Slash. Again, we see no boost. Come on, game. Show me the motherfucking boost. The opponent fire off the Moonblast, which gets Gliscor down below half health. This is going to get very sticky for Jazz. Jazz fires off the Night Slash, finally getting Cresselia down below half health. Again, no boost, meaning this Night Slash isn't going to be lethal. The opponent now has the energy for the next Moonblast. They actually bank it, pivot out into Obstagoon, going for the old wham bam combo play. The opponent fires off the Night Slash. Gliscor withstands the damage. I think if I was Jazz, you should have banked this charge move before pivoting, as 2 Hydro Cannons will definitely knock out Obstagoon and Gliscor will win CMP. However, let's see if Jazz still pulls this one off. I think the answer is going to be no, as we haven't got enough energy. Hydro Cannon does take care of Obstagoon. Cresselia now going to fire off the charge move. And as we didn't bank the charge move, we're going to get Psycho Cut farm down. Even one of the best players in the world sometimes makes mistakes. Moving on to the next one. If there was ever a time to use the word yikes, this would be it. Shadow Gramble going to delete our Greninja. We see this time the pivot into Gliscor. Jazz shows great discipline, farming up a boatload of energy, anticipating the opponent making a catch. They send out Charizard. Gliscor so far energy, again going for the Night Slash boost. Jazz has absolutely zero luck getting any boosts. You hate to see it. Charizard fires off the Dragon Claw, securing the knockout. Back out comes Greninja. Greninja will be able to get the full Water Streak and farm down, but not before a Blast Burn. Jazz opting to shield up the Blast Burn. Greninja gets the full Water Streak and farm down. Switch timers are misaligned, so we see they pivot into Scizor. Scizor gonna respect the potential crunch or close combat. The opponent's final Pokemon is Scizor. This does not look fantastic. Jazz fires off the Night Slash. The opponent hanging on to 2 Protect Shields. They manage to get the full Incinerate farm down. Greninja gonna eat the Disarming Voice to the face. And unfortunately, it looks like RPS for the win, but not in our favour. Jazz fires off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout, and 1 charm is all she wrote. GG's to that opponent. Another terrible lead. Holy smokes, what the heck is going on? Jazz opts to stay in. It looks like he's going to throw 5 Water Shriekens and the Hydro Cannon for optimal fast move timing, only allowing Ampharos 1 free turn of energy. Hydro Cannon gets the opponent incredibly low. We then look to catch a charge move onto Gliscor. Again, the catch isn't successful, but the opponent does opt to chip us. The opponent opting to throw all of their energy. Gliscor tanks both brutal swings. The opponent now sending Cresselia, and Cresselia is going to be met with a Night Slash. Of course, we see no boost. Jazz must have really pissed off the RNG gods, as they're saying, fuck you, you're not having any boosts, even though you're running the world's glassiest team. We fire off the second Night Slash, again no boost. However, the opponent recognising they're going to have a tough time with Psycho Cutting farming us down, opt to dump energy. Jazz gonna send in Scizor. Can Scizor get the Bullet Punch farm down? Jazz gonna invest the Protect Shield on the future site. What a call. We saw earlier in the video that actually does half our HP. Jazz farms up, fires off the Night Slash. Cresselia invests the Protect Shield. However, Scizor's at the back-to-back, so the opponent is going to be forced to burn both Protect Shields. The opponent is unwilling. Scizor gets the knockout, and the opponent's final Pokemon's Florges. Jazz then looks to make a savage catch him back onto Greninja. Let's fucking go. Moonblast does secure the knockout. Out comes Scizor. We fire off the Trailblaze, looking to vamp up our attack. Trailblaze goes unshielded, and it looks like the opponent can save that shield for next season. Back out comes Ampharos. We Bullet Punch farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see, of course, another lost lead. Wow. Jazz again opting to stay in. Are we going to see the attempted catch? No, Jazz actually takes the extra. As the opponent has thrown an alignment, Jazz is going to be able to outpace the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. The first Hydro Cannon forced to Protect Shield. The opponent then looked to make a catch onto Mandibuzz. Jazz going to chip with a Hydro Cannon, and I imagine we're going to make the catch. Jazz farming up, and there is the attempted catch. Stay in school, kids, learn to count. Jazz says, anything you can do, I can do better. To be honest, this isn't a great matchup for Scizor, as both Trailblaze and Night Slash are going to be resisted. The opponent fires off the Dark Pulse, which gets Scizor incredibly low. Jazz fires off the Night Slash. Night Slash going to do absolutely nothing to this flying Umbreon. The opponent looking for the full snarl down, farm down. Scizor on a sliver of HP. Fires off 1 further Night Slash, getting Mandibuzz down into the red. Jazz sends back out Greninja, opts to throw the Hydro Cannon, denying Mandibuzz all of their energy. The opponent opts just to let it go down. Back out comes Galvantula. Greninja able to make 1 further Hydro Cannon, which should be forcing the final Protect Shield. Galvantula users love to do 2 things, throw lunge baits and shield. That is why I definitely called that they were going to shield before I even saw them put it up. The opponent continuing to stay in. Jazz fires off the Night Slash. Do we see a boost? No, we don't. The opponent, of course, has got Jellicent in the back. This is a team I have showcased on the channel with Shadow Galvantula. It's a team that my friend Joey was able to gain 650 points and go all the way to Legend with last season. It is so fucking annoying, but very effective. Gliscor has a lot of work ahead of it. We fire off yet another Night Slash. We still don't see any boost. We attempt to catch the charge move onto Greninja. The opponent holds their energy. They farm us down, and unfortunately, we are going to take a loss. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see a real blast from the past. Articuno used to be a top tier threat when stuff like Togekiss and Giratina were absolutely everywhere. However, nowadays, we see stuff like Scizor and Charizard, which Articuno absolutely doesn't want the work of. I believe this is only 6, so the one short of Hurricane. Hurricane takes 7, then 6. However, as I'm always yapping like crazy, I could be wrong. They might have been at 7. Either way, Jazz shield up the Icy Wind and then fires off Hydro Cannon number 2, getting Articuno down below half health. Jazz then fires off the next Hydro Cannon. We then see the pivot into Scizor. Please tell me this is an icy wind and not a hurricane. Yikes, the opponent YOLO the hurricane, near one shot on our Scizor. Scizor gets the bullet punch farm down, and the opponent now sends in a lowland sand slash. Sand slash going to be met with a night slash, which does some decent chip damage. The opponent gets a huge shadow claw farm down. Jazz going to send back out Greninja as Gliscor definitely doesn't want the work. Jazz looking to call a bait. The opponent is indeed a master baiter. What a call from Jazz. However, the opponent already at the next Ice Punch, and we are actually approaching Ice Punch Rage. Jazz does invest his final protection. We'll then throw one Water Shuriken and the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout. The opponent saving one shield for the own Greninja. Jazz banks a move, sends out Gliscor. However, Gliscor is going to get one shot. Jazz fires off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace doesn't force a Protect Shield. The opponent going to vanquish us back to our Pokeball with the Hydro Cannon. Jazz needs to farm up to the back-to-back charge moves. Unfortunately, we're not able to. And the opponent with a very, very random, very spicy team that is ABA weak to fire. And to be honest, pretty weak to any counter user. Manages to take the dub. Moving on to the next one. Poliwrath can probably 1v3 our team as Greninja getting wrecked by the counters. Gliscor going to take double super effective from the Ice Punch. And Scizor going to be getting 4 resisted with the bullet punches. How do we beat this thing? Jazz calls an Ice Punch, allowing himself to make back-to-back Aerial Aces. Okay, I see you cooking. Jazz looks to snipe with Gliscor. Unfortunately, Poliwrath does make a further Ice Punch. We see the first Protect Shield deployed. Jazz draws out Cresselia. Cresselia going to be met with the Night Slash. They did say that Poliwrath on 1 HP and the Dream as a potential sack swap. Jazz down a shield. Not sitting in the best spot, but if anyone can pull it off, it's probably Jazz. We fire off the next Night Slash. Yet again, we see no such boost luck. The opponent going to return fire with the Moonblast, getting us down below half health. Jazz now over farms. Fires off the Night Slash. This won't be lethal, but will leave Cresselia low. Cresselia actually commits to Protect Shield. Finally, we see the boost. We attempt to catch. Unfortunately, no such luck. So Jazz chooses to send out Scizor. And the opponent's final Pokemon is Kanto Mark. This is very playable. We land the first Night Slash. The opponent farming up to the Dark Pulse. But Scizor fires off the next Night Slash on the CMP tie. Night Slash does force the final Protect Shield. Now we see another boost. Let's go. Jazz correctly shields up a Dark Pulse. And this is going to be game over. Scizor is going to be able to outpace to the boosted Night Slash, which is going to be massive overkill at this stage. We see another boost. Holy cow. The opponent fires off a charge move. Scizor withstands the damage. Jazz just got to let Scizor go down, and Gliscor will be able to wing attack farm down the remainder of the team. And that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Huge shout out to Jazz for an incredible battle submission. Not only did he show us a very spicy team, some spicy mon with spicy moveset, but it was an absolute treat to shoutcast your incredible gameplay. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing. If you'd like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. If you want to join the Discord, that's also linked down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.